fellow Star Wars nerds, and welcome to Unlimited Content, the podcast where two brothers talk about all of Star Wars film and TV in chronological order on the internet as an excuse to hang out more. We're your hosts, Sam and Jack, and this week we're talking about The Clone Wars Season 4, Episode 19, Massacre, Tales of the Empire, Episode 1, Path of Fear, and The Clone Wars Season 4, Episode 20, Bounty. Jack.
Sam,
how are you?
Good. You've got your NPR voice on today.
You have my NPR voice on today. I've been listening to a lot of NPR lately. That's what happens when I just listen to things all the time. And
this is NPR myself. News from Washington. I'm Nichelle Norris.
Yeah. Live from NPR News in Washington. I'm Janine Brown, or whoever. I don't know. I'm Jack Spear.
Guy Risdahl.
Jack Spear has the most newsy news voice, I think. Mm-hmm. He just sounds like an old school news broadcaster.
Mm-hmm. It's good.
It is good.
Well, how are you, Sam?
I'm good. I only had to work 6 hours today, which was great.
On today, a Sunday.
A Sunday, as a postman, only had to work 6 hours.
Man.
Yeah. My current schedule at work is 8 days on, 1 day off. So that's how I'm doing.
Wow. How long is that? Do you have an idea how long it's going to go for? That particular
at
schedule?
Least the next 2 months. And then we get into the holidays, and there's a lot of mandatory overtime.
Cool.
Yeah.
Man. But it's still better than your old job?
Yes, it is.
Good.
My legs and feet hurt all the time, but my brain and soul do not. And so it is much better.
That's good. That's great. Yes. Well, you know what hurts my brain and soul, Sam?
Oh, no. Not bills. No!
Yeah.
Not the bills. Anything but the bills.
Bills hurt my brain and soul and my wallet. All of them.
How will we recover financially and emotionally and mentally from all of these bills?
Well, I can answer one of those, which is the financial aspect.
Okay.
The mental and emotional aspect, I don't know. We might just be screwed on that front. But
shoot.
Otherwise, I do have for us this week an unlimited sponsor for our unlimited podcast. This week's episode of Unlimited Content is brought to you by hats.
Hats? I'm wearing one of those.
Yeah, you are. I didn't even plan for that. I didn't even know you were going to wear a hat today. But that was going to be the sponsor.
I'm just wearing my green beanie. My greenie beanie.
Green? You're a greenie beanie.
I have a greenie beanie. I got new glasses in my green. That's fun.
Ooh,
I'm wearing all green today.
Some kind of classic, old-fashioned, like 80s looking almost
little
glasses.
Aviator glasses. Mm-hmm. They're transition lenses. So when I step out into the sun, they turn into sunglasses.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's a must-have. It is very helpful for my job. Although they don't transition as much as I want them to. Yeah. They kind of just turn into Bono glasses, which is kind of dark, but not enough to look dark, but not enough to feel dark. Yeah. You know. Mm-hmm. But hey, they're new glasses and they're my new prescription, and I can see better with them. So
that's good.
And I think I look good in aviators, so I like them.
They're good. Yeah, you look stunning.
Thanks.
You look smashing.
Aw, Jack, I miss you. It's been 3 weeks. How are you?
Yeah, it's good. It's been a bit. Thank you to our sponsor, by the way, hats. I don't have anything to say about hats other than that I don't really have any hats because my head is big, and so hats usually don't fit me. But hats are cool in general.
My head is slightly less big, and I wear hats all the time now. Lately I've become a hat person, but even before this job, so I'm this is kind of nice because I just like wearing hats now. I'm a hat guy.
That's cool.
Yep.
There's a lot of video games where you can get lots of hats.
Ooh, yeah.
I told you about the Spirit and the Mouse, that the electric mouse game in French Village.
It's
and you can unlock a bunch of hats.
Kind of Pikachu, but not Pikachu.
Yeah. And there was a SteamWorld Heist and its sequel, which just came out recently, and that you can unlock lots of hats and change what hat you're wearing. A lot. That's one of the things that if you see that a game has you can wear different hats in it, then that's a good sign. It's a good game. It's gonna be a good game, regardless.
It's a good game. And you get hats in Rocket League. You can just put a giant top hat on top of your car.
Yes. There are so many hats in Rocket League.
It's so dumb. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah, I have one that's like a stack of pancakes. It just goes on top of your car. It's great.
Yes.
Yeah. You get like a traffic cone. You can get like a pizza delivery car thing to go on top. Yeah, there's so many hats and accessories and antenna balls and things in Rocket League.
Nice.
I've played Rocket League, but it's a fun game. Thank you again to our sponsor, Hats, for sponsoring this episode of Unlimited Content. Yeah, it's been a couple weeks, Sam. It's been a bit because mostly because you've been busy and tired.
I've been very busy
with your whole job, and you're working 8 days on, 1 day off.
Yeah.
Ouch. Yeah.
Would not recommend. Would recommend. Please come work for the post office. We need so much help. If more people work here, I don't have to work as much, and that'd be great. So we're just short staffed all the time. Just come. Like, the pay's good. It's a union job. It's a government job. The benefits are amazing. The benefits are so good. But please come help. We need so much help. Come help.
This episode is also unofficially sponsored by the United States Postal Service.
Indeed.
As is all of America, if we're being real about it. USPS. One of the like most important indispensable services that the government provides.
Yep.
Is the Postal Service. It's a universal good, basically.
It is.
So.
And I learned this today, that I was born in the 200th anniversary year of the Postal Service. The Postal Service was founded in 1792.
Whoa.
So that's fun.
Dang. That's old.
It is old.
You that old?
Almost. Not quite.
Wow.
I'm getting there.
I was thinking the other day.
My knees would tell you that I'm that old because of all the walking I do. But no, I'm not that old.
Sam, what is... I was thinking, because next month I'm going to be turning 29, so I'm nearing the end of my 20s. 29?
29?
What is the for you? What is the difference between your 20s and your 30s? Does your 30s feel much different, or is it basically just like your knees are creakier?
My knees do get creakier. Yeah, no. I think the only thing I really noticed when I hit my 30s is that I stopped. It was like once I'm past 30, I just kind of stopped keeping track of how old I was. Like, I'm 30 something. Yeah, in my 20s, they're like, oh, I'm 28. No, I'm 29. And when I hit 30, I'm like, I'm 30. And then when I hit 31, I'm like, am I still 30? I don't remember. Like, that's really the only difference that I've noticed. Is just like, it just becomes harder to keep track of how old I am.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah. For me, it's like, I don't know. It's silly because it's ultimately just a number, but at the same time, there is this sort of existential dread that comes into my heart every time I think about the fact that I'm getting closer to turning 30. Because there's something about not being in my 20s anymore that, like, I'm not. It's not that, like, I'm scared of aging so much as I'm like, it's the fact that I'm single and I'm almost 29, and I'm like, I feel like, there's a fear there of like, am I running out of time to like find a person, but I'm sure it'll be fine, probably.
I'm sure you're familiar with the Bo Burnham song, I'm Turning 30.
I've not heard that one, no.
It was in his like Inside. Like,
okay, well then I have heard it. I just forgot.
Okay, yeah. He just kind of like laments. Basically, like what you just described is kind of like what the song's about. Is that like when my dad was 30, he was like fighting in Vietnam. When I turned 30, I'm building birdhouses with my mom. Now I'm turning 30. And it's just kind of, And he like allegedly like recorded it like over the course of like the last day of he was 29, and then like the song ends and like the clock hits midnight and he's 30. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's neat. Yeah, if
you want to like just steep in the existential dread, listen to that song. It's also funny. So
listen, if I want to steep in my existential dread, I already know to go to Bo Burnham for that. All right,
yes,
I know. If I want to get all existential and sad, I'll just go listen to some Bo Burnham.
Oh man, so I didn't realize Bo Burnham was like that until I watched Inside, and I was like in like kind of a bad headspace going into watching. I was like, I want to like stand-up comedy. This sounds fun. Yeah, I'm gonna listen to this and like watch it. It's gonna be great. And I was like depressed for 2 days after it because I like wanted like his big pick me up. I was like, oh, it's gonna be like, and then it wasn't. But then I went back. It's
very funny and very good. And also, it's all about, it's just existential dread during COVID, the musical.
Yes.
Kind of.
Yeah, it's like the millennial experience during COVID, the musical. It's like what it was. And I was like, oh. I wanted to escape this, not just like dive deeper into it.
Confront it.
I was not ready for that. No, but in hindsight, it's great. But I was not in a good headspace for it.
Yeah. Yeah. The other thing is, I'm trying to do better at like not comparing my life to the way that I feel like people's lives are supposed to be, or comparing it to other people's lives, you know, because it's like it's really easy to be like, okay, I feel like by the time I am this age I should have accomplished these things, or I should be in this, you know, in this headspace or in this place in my career or whatever, and it's really easy to fall into that, and I think that just it's ultimately doesn't actually mean anything, you know. Everybody lives their lives and matures and grows and does things at their own pace. And, you know, there are things that I've probably already gone through that other people might not go through till they're 50. And there are things that other people have already gone through that are my age that I won't go through until I'm 65 or whatever. Like, it's one of those things where, like, adulthood doesn't have, like, an order in which it occurs. It's
one big choose your own adventure, man. That's all it really is.
Yeah.
And you don't,
and you,
and we can like get into this like, oh, I should be here doing this, but don't shit on yourself, man. Like, you're fine.
I do like that phrase. Stop shitting on yourself.
Stop shitting on yourself. You're fine. Like, you're doing good.
Yeah. So trying to do better at that. And when I'm not thinking about that, I feel pretty good about where I am in my life. And then sometimes I'll remember that I'm almost 30 and I'll be like, the weird thing is I'm not even almost 30. I'm almost 30. I'm almost 29. Yeah. But I'm like, my brain immediately goes, I'm almost 29, which means I'm almost 30, which means I'm almost 40, which means I'm almost 80, which means I'm almost dead. Oh, no. I'm running out of time. You know? It's the immediate escalation of everything that comes with having an anxiety disorder. You know?
But no, I mean, like, you're like not even in your physical prime yet. By like,
what?
Yeah, apparently 33 is like when men hit their physical prime.
Oh,
allegedly.
That makes me feel a little bit better.
I heard it on the internet or something, so it must be true.
Okay, yeah. But, I mean, I'd prefer to believe that.
Sarah's saying that she told me that.
Okay, I believe Sarah. Yeah, I believe Sarah.
Hold on, let me take my here. What did you say? What? Oh, is that just because that's just the age that Jesus died at? Oh, that's just, oh. All right. Well. Cool.
So either you're in your physical prime or it's when you die. You know? So it'll be one of the
physical prime or death. That's what you get. Yeah, I'm not even there yet. So I'm, cool. That's what I'm holding out for.
I'm choosing to believe that that's true.
It's all downhill from 33.
Because
I know.
It feels because it feels better than what I thought before, which is that like 25 is your peak, and then you.
Oh no, that's just your last year on your parents' insurance. That's all that is.
That's true. That's true. Anyway, God, life and stuff. Speaking of life, other than postal servicing, Sam, how's your life been last couple weeks?
Good. Whilst postal servicing, I've been audiobooking like crazy. I'm looking for new recommendations for audiobooks, especially ones that are just like well performed audiobooks, because that's just very engaging and fun. But so last Sunday, I was like, I just kind of like decided like it's time for an audiobook. Like I like a couple days before that, I was like, I'll listen to like, I don't know, like was indecisive what to listen. So I just like tried to listen to Neil deGrasse Tyson's Astrophysics for People in a Hurry. I got about halfway through it, and I'm like, this is like too intellectual for me to like listen to while like trying to learn how to do this job. So I stopped.
I'm too in a hurry for this.
I am too in a hurry. Really, I am. And so the next day, which was a week ago today, I was like, you know what? I've never finished Return to the King. So I'm going to start listening to Return to the King. Just on one speed. Just like normal 1.0, not like sped up or slowed down or anything. Just like normal. It's Andy Serkis reading it. It's going to be great. 3 days later, I was done with it.
Like done with it as in... Like,
the whole book.
Oh, you finished it. Okay. When you said done with it, I wasn't sure if you meant done, actually I'm giving up on this, or wow.
It took me 3 days to get through Andy Serkis's 23-hour long Return to the King reading. Yeah.
I guess if you work like 8 hours a day,
that would be nice to work 8 hours a day. I would love to work 8 hours a day.
Oh, okay.
I work like 10 or 11 hours a day.
Yeesh. Wow. Yeah. But you're making bank on that, I hope. Like you get, because it's hourly, right? So you get paid more the more hour. Okay, so that's good, at least.
I do, yeah. But I'm realizing I'm getting dinged by like because I live in Missouri and work in Kansas, so I'm getting 2 state taxes. I need to move to Kansas. But it's really what's happening. Yeah, no. The taxes are getting me, man. Yeah.
Dang.
So yeah, but I mean, at least it's up in a couple months, and hopefully we're moving. We need to figure out exactly what's going on there. The housing market sucks. But yeah, so audiobooks is what I've been doing lately. So I finished Return of the King, and yesterday I started. Remember I told you a few weeks back about this book by a guy named Peter Heller called The Dog Stars.
Yes, this is the Hatchet Vibes.
Yeah,
book.
Hatchet Vibes book. So I started another book by him yesterday called The Painter, and I'm realizing he just has like the same 3 characters he cycles through, and like, and it's just kind of different settings. I wonder, like, Peter Heller, is this just you, and you're just kind of like putting yourself in different things? Because like, The Dog Stars, he was a pilot and he had a dog, and then The Painter, he is a painter, and yeah, and like in The Dog Stars, his wife and daughter were dead. In the Painter, like an hour in, you're like, oh, his whole family's dead too, and he's a divorcee, and like he tried to kill somebody, and like it's just like a lot of kind of the same. So I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna keep reading, because it's like this feels predictable at this point, because I'm like, there's a pattern. There's like dude who's kind of washed up trying to like restart his life, meets a young hot chick in the middle of nowhere and where it's pretty outside. I'm like, oh, is this just your fantasy that you just like try and like recycle every book you write? One book was great. The second book, I mean, it just kind of feels the same. So I might try and find something else.
Gotcha.
But
I have not a book recommendation so much as this is a book I want to read that was on my radar recently. You know Andy Weir? He did the Martian.
Yeah, The Martian is great. Yeah. I love that book.
I've heard that book is great. I've seen the movie, loved it. I've not read the book, but I've been wanting to read one of his books, and I think his most recent book, or at least the one that I'm most aware of, released recently, is called Project Hail Mary. Yeah, and it's like a space action thriller type something. Apparently, it's really good. Also getting turned into a movie at some point, but I'd like to read the book.
Good. Yeah, we're logging on Libby right now. I'm gonna see if I can find it.
Ooh.
I'm gonna do it, because I love
your library.
Yep, my Libby library. Because I loved the Martian. It was such a fun book. Very like just witty, like just kind of on the nose humor, but just smart humor. I also love that the first word in. Do you know what the first word in the Martian is in the book?
Space. I don't know. What is it?
Fuck. That's the first one. Yeah.
Cool. Well, shit. I'm on Mars.
Yeah. Andy Weir. That's what I'm doing. I can't type and think at the same time. Andy Weir, do you have audiobooks? Tell me, please. I want Andy Weir audiobooks. How far into The Painter did I get? Not that far. Okay. Great. I'm in my back bedroom where both the data and Wi-Fi are trash garbage.
Fun.
No results. No Andy Weir. Let's try the other one. Andy Weir.
The other one?
Nope. There's the summary of Andy Weir's Project Hail Mary. That's 21 minutes long.
That's if you want to,
Yep, and then
take up 21 minutes of your day.
And then he's got a kid's book that doesn't look like something I want to read. But no, it's not. It's not. Damn. Okay, yeah.
Bummer.
Yeah, because I have my Casey Moe library card and my Johnson County, Kansas library card. I'm switching between. And there's no Andy Weir on either.
Dang.
Well, yeah.
I wonder if there's like, do they even, like, you can like check out like cassette tapes and stuff from the library that had audiobooks on it. I assume CDs at some point too. I wonder if like they're still publishing CDs of them, because if you can like get a CD, you can just like rip it off the CD and put it on your phone or whatever. But, I don't know. Just a thought, but I don't know how frequently they do that anymore and how frequently libraries get them. Because like most people don't even have CD players anymore. So I don't know how useful that would be. But,
yeah.
I'm sure there's
so what you're saying is find the CD at the library, rip it onto my computer, and then return the CD.
Yes.
Nice. This has been
100%.
this has been unethical life hacks from Jack Ford.
I don't know if it's unethical. It's like there's nothing illegal about ripping a CD. And
no, I know.
As long as you're not like selling it to somebody else, like that'd be one thing. If you were like, I'm gonna sell bootleg copies of this thing, but if you're like, I checked it out from the library, I feel like that's reasonable. You know,
Jack,
I'm defending myself, not to you, to
you
the
wouldn't
world.
download a car, Jack. You wouldn't download a car.
I absolutely would download a car and a pizza and all the things that they say you wouldn't download, but I would. Yeah. If I could download listen, I downloaded a guitar pick. I downloaded so many things. I can just print stuff now. I can actually just download. Like, you wouldn't download a car. I would download a car, and I could.
Yeah, have you ever 3D printing? Come on. That's exactly what I would do.
Exactly. Oh, man.
Yeah, with enough 3D printing filament, you could do anything. Anything.
True.
Yep. Jack, have you been doing any more 3D printing?
I have. It's been fun. I've spent like the last week or two mostly just troubleshooting. Because I had the settings dialed in pretty well, and I was just printing a bunch of stuff, and then I switched to a new filament because I ran out of my old one, and so I got some new filament and started trying to print with that, but I needed to like try and dial in the settings again, and I've been troubleshooting that and like doing a bunch of little test prints over and over again to try and like dial in, okay, what's the setting I need to change for this? And it's just like, it's been very difficult. Like, I guess I just landed on a really good, like I got lucky the first time, and now I'm actually having to learn how to like dial things in properly.
Do you still know what that first filament you had is? Because what if you can just like, because if you could dial in the first one, just like keep buying that brand of filament. Was that the thing you could do?
The thing is, I don't know if like maybe it's a brand thing, but it's also like I was talking to my friend Danny, who also 3D prints regularly, and
we gotta get Danny on the podcast because you mentioned Danny just about every episode of the podcast.
Well, Danny and I, especially in the last like few months, have had a lot of like overlapping hobbies. Yeah, we've both been really excited about at the same time.
Danny, I assume you listen to this podcast. If you don't, rude. But I want to meet you. You should get on the podcast.
Shout out Danny. Yeah, I'll tell him to listen to this episode in particular because I don't think he listens to the podcast ever, which is fine. He's not a podcast guy. No, wait, actually, no, he totally is a podcast guy. He listens to podcasts like every day, like Twitch streams and stuff. So anyway,
we have now 53 episodes of the podcast. Danny, come on.
Mr. Daniel, come on,
Daniel.
Anyway,
is his last name Tiger?
No.
Your friend's not Daniel Tiger.
He doesn't have a neighborhood. He lives in a little house by himself in the middle of nowhere. He has no neighborhood.
Poor Danny. I'll be friends with you, Danny. Come on my podcast.
I could drive. He lives like 5 minutes from me. I could drive over right now and be like, hey.
No one lives near him. You live near him. 5 minutes is near.
That was a joke about him not having a neighborhood. I was making a Daniel Tiger's neighborhood joke. I was yes-anding your joke, Sam. This was your doing. I blame you.
Every day, more lies.
Anyway, so what Danny was telling me is that sometimes you just get like a bad batch of.
That's another Star Wars
filament. Shut up. Sometimes you just get like a bad case of filament, like it's manufactured weird, or it comes out weird, or like other times like. One thing he did help me with is I took my most filament. So like the problem I was having with this most recent like roll of filament, and that I'm now having with the other one. So I think maybe it's just a printer settings thing. I don't know, but there's a bunch of different like little errors and inconsistencies and things that can come up when you're doing 3D prints. And one of them is called stringing. Basically it's when the printer head is like going around printing, and then like when it's going between one spot on the print and then moving over to the next spot, it like leaves a little trail between point A and point B, and there's like a bunch of stringiness. And so I'll hold up for Sam for an example, but here's a test print that I did, and there's so much stringing. It's like a web of all this plastic that's like not supposed to be there.
Spider-Man had fun with that one.
Yeah, he did.
It does look like spider webs.
Yeah, it's very webby. It's kind of cool looking, except that it's not what I want the print to actually look like. So
wait, show me again, because I wasn't paying attention to what the thing was. I just looked at the stringies.
It's not anything. It's just it's designed for like, here's a bunch of different types of structures to test your
so it's a test print thing. Oh, it literally says 3D print test. Got it.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. Well, like you were just showing strings. That's true. But like this bit here tests the quality of the print as you go on like at further angles, basically. And there's like different like towers and There's tests for bridging and tests for doing circles and all sorts of different things. Yeah, it looks kind of like a circuit board. This thing I'm holding up to Sam.
It does,
but it's like I don't know, like less than 6 inches. It's like I don't know, like 5-inch by 5-inch square with a bunch of like weird little structures on it that I print off as a test. And yeah, so I've been just fiddling with a bunch of different things, thinking, oh, maybe this is the solution, and then it just like either the string is still there or the string is like not as bad, but then something else about the print looks bad, and so I'm just, it's very finicky. So I'm in the stage right now of my 3D printing journey where I'm like getting through the rough patch, trying to like get to a point where I'm like, hopefully I can dial in the settings and then just print stuff again and have fun doing that instead of having to like go back and forth.
And I also feel like eventually, like, the more you get into this hobby, you're going to get faster at dialing in stuff. Like, you're going to see, like, oh, it's doing this. Now I know how to tweak this particular little doohickey. But
that's my hope. Sweet. Yeah. But yeah, so still working on that. Here's one thing that I printed that I like. This is a little kickstand for my Steam Deck. So it just sits. It's like a little triangle. Little black triangle with like the Steam Deck logo on it, and I have it sit on my desk in front of my keyboard so that whenever I like occasionally I want to do something on my Steam Deck that like I'm like modding something or like need to go into a browser or something, and so I'll set it up in front of my keyboard in order to actually use a physical keyboard to type on it, and so now I have a little stand to put it in whenever I want to do that instead of having to like awkwardly prop it up on something. So
nice. Yeah. It looks kind of like that Wii U stand the one that came with the Wii U.
Yeah, it does look a lot like the little Wii U kickstand, Wii U gamepad kickstand.
Wii U.
Yep. Yeah. So mostly just lots of test prints and stuff in that realm. But there's a lot of things that I like. But one of the fun things about 3D printing is like going about your daily life and being like, oh man, I wish I had such and such thing, or gosh, this specific problem is irking me, and then I realized I could probably 3D print something for that. So like I was like cleaning my room the other day, and I had some ties that were just kind of lying around because I don't like hanging up ties because it's usually, I've never had like tie hangers basically. I've always just kind of hung them on regular hangers on either side to kind of keep it balanced basically, but it never looks good. And I'm like, man, I should probably just get some tie hangers. Then I was like, I could just print some tie hangers, couldn't I? And so I looked online, and yeah, there's so many different designs to choose from, and they're like quick, easy, simple prints, and they're like, you can look at different different designs, and people will say like, this one is good for these reasons, and or some are better reviewed than others, and it's just free. So I could be like, okay, I need in theory, if my printer was working the way I wanted it to, I could just print it off and then have it later that day and hang my ties on that. But for now, my ties are kind of just in a pile still. But eventually,
you'll get there.
Eventually, I'll do it.
You'll get there.
But yeah, 2D printing, it's fun, but I'm in the not so fun stage at the moment. That's what I've been up to.
There you
go. And the other thing is more video gaming. One game I did just recently finish is I don't remember if I talked about this on the podcast at all, but it's a game called Broken Age. Nope. Okay, it is a point-and-click adventure game, kind of classically styled,
nice.
in the style of like Secret of Monkey Island or your Pajama Sams or whatnot. Yeah, Pajama Sam is Sam and I's go-to point-and-click adventure game because we grew up playing it.
We did,
and also because Sam's name is Sam.
Yep.
I've thought about getting you a Pajama Sam T-shirt for your birthday.
I'd wear the heck out of that. I would.
Yeah. So, spoilers for a potential future gift for Sam.
Uh-oh.
But yeah. So this is a game called Broken Age by a studio called Double Fine. They...
Single Fine.
No, this is double that.
Oh, good.
It's twice that. Twice good. Double Fine, they were founded by a bunch of like ex-LucasArts employees. So like they worked on like stuff like the Secret of Monkey Island in those games, and then a bunch of those employees like left LucasArts to start their own company, and that's this company. And they made Grim Fandango. They made the Psychonauts games, and then they made Broken Age. And Broken Age is it's a kind of classically styled point and click adventure with really like cool art style and fun humor, and it was like a Kickstarter that they did for it, and there's like a like a 15-part documentary series that I have on Blu-ray that I haven't finished because I hadn't beaten the game yet. But now I've beaten the game. Yeah, so the point-and-click adventure games they're some of my favorite kinds of games to play with friends. You know, we just all like sit on the couch together and like, you know, talk to each other about like, okay, what could the solution for this be? Or just talking about the story, or, you know, it's just like a fun, like kind of sitting around the campfire enjoying a story together.
I love
kind
that
of game. I love that. Yeah, I did a lot of that in college with friends. We played a lot of like the King's Quest games. We played some cheesy old like 80s and 90s FMV horror games like Phantasmagoria, and yeah, just lots of it's super fun. So me and a few friends were playing through Broken Age, and we finished it last night, and it was fun. It was delightful. It was a good game.
Nice.
So that was nice, and it felt good to finally check that off my list, because that's been on my to-play list for like the better part of a decade now, and it's like not even that long of a game, but I got through it finally, and it was good, and I'm glad I did. And that's the other thing I wanted to talk about, actually, that's been on my mind lately, is gaming backlogs. Specifically my gaming backlog, which is very long. One.
Yes. Yeah.
So my thing is, we've talked a bit about like, you know, how I like to buy books and then like with the intention of reading them eventually, but just not like, you know, they end up collecting dust for a while, and then in like, you know, 6 years I'll pick it up and be like, oh, this is good, and then I'll read it. But but like with video games, it's like that, but even worse, because video games can be so cheap, and so many of them are digital, and there's so many free digital games you can get these days too, and like, or like things that are like go on sale like temporarily, where you can get them in bundles. And so I've literally like over 1,000 video games, and I have, you know, like I wow, not that I need to play all of them, obviously, but the bigger problem is more that I tend to start games and then not finish them, with the intention of finishing them eventually, most of them. But like, I a few years ago, at this point, I started a Notion database. That's my game journal. So I keep track of what games I've been playing, the date that I started playing that game on, and then once I finished it, I write down the finish date and what I thought of it and stuff like that, which has been great. I love doing that. The thing is, though, that I tend to this journal has, if it's done anything for me, it's just reinforced how much more frequently I start games than I finish them. And I would like to get into the habit of actually finishing some games, because what's happened at this point is like I will just kind of be indecisive about what games I want to play, because I've got so many games on either my to play list or my currently playing list, that I like don't I don't stick to any one. I'll decide one day, oh, okay, I'll play some of this, and I'll play like 30 minutes of a game, and then won't play that game again for another 2 months or something. And and so I want to get like closer to actually finishing games more frequently. So and I was talking about this with some of my friends, and I've come up with a method that I'm going to try. I'm going to try sticking to roughly. So I went to my game journal database, and because I have them written down, I have like the start date written down them. I just sorted them by the start date, and then also grouped them by, I've got a bunch of other properties that I add each game, and one of them is the priority. So I have, the top priority is must play / essential, and then below that is want or wanted to play, and then below that is moderate interest, and then below that is take it or leave it, which means like, I could maybe if I wanted to. So what I did is I went through all the games that are stuff that's in my game journal, so it's games that I've already started, and sorted it by priority and then by date. So I'm going through all of the must play / essential games first, in the order in which I started them, so that I can finally start working my way through my backlog. And what I'm going to try to do is stick to basically only ever playing 2 games at any given time. So I'll be playing either whatever the next thing is on my backlog list, or like a recent release that just came out that I'm really excited to play, because that happens a lot too, is where like I'll, a new game will come out and I'm like, ooh, I really want to play this, because I want to, A, because it just came out and I'm super excited for it, and B, because I want to be like part of the conversation around this game. I want to be able to like talk about it with people, or like understand what the online discussion around this game is. And so that's why I'm kind of leaving that door open too. For like, so I've got like, roughly I want to stick to these two categories of either I'm working on the most recent game on my list and not going to the next one until I finish the one before it, or I'm playing like whatever the most recent shiny thing is that I'm excited about. So that's my plan right now. So the game I just started this like basically yesterday, and I'm the first game on my list, which I started July 1st, 2016.
Wow.
Was Final Fantasy VII. So
July 1st.
I'm gonna finally.
I don't think I'd even met Sarah at that point. We've been
My
married almost
playthrough of
5
this
years.
game, he's older than your relationship with your now wife.
Yes.
And the mother of your child. So, yeah, Final Fantasy VII and I, we go way back.
That's pretty far back. That's the Obama administration, man. That's a long time ago.
It is, isn't it? Yeah. So, yeah. And that was, to be fair, that was like the first time that I started Final Fantasy VII. Because then, like, there were a couple times when, like, I went, like I started it. It didn't really click with me. I stopped. And then maybe, like, a year later went back to it. I was like, okay, I really want to play this at some point. I want to get through this. This is a classic, important game. I want to play this.
Yeah.
And so I'll start it again. And then I, like, stop. Because I either lose interest or whatever. Or just forget. Or get distracted by another game. Or whatever. So, yeah. But point is, I've been wanting to play this one for forever, and it's been on my list for forever, and it's important to me, and also it's important to like my friends also, because I'm like, me and a bunch of friends were all playing Final Fantasy VII stuff together around the same time earlier this year, because Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, which is the second game in the remake trilogy, came out this year.
Yes.
And we were all kind of trying to catch up on all of the Final Fantasy VII things that we needed to play in order to get to Rebirth. And at a certain point I was like, I don't have the time to do this right now, because I was in the middle of a bunch of other stuff, or there were other games that were like, that became higher priority for me at the time. Sure. Anyway, they went ahead and like, they're mostly caught up at this point, and I feel like I need to catch up to them, because there's Final Fantasy VII, and then there's Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core, which was like a PSP game that's a prequel that they made a remake for that I haven't played. There's Dirge of Cerberus, which is like a shooter. There's the movie. There's the extended cut of the movie. There's the remake. There's the DLC for the remake, and then there's the sequel to the remake. And it's there's so many things, and I need to play this game first. So this is the bare minimum.
Square Enix, what are you doing?
Listen,
pick a lane, man.
These are the same people that gave us Kingdom Hearts. So I mean, are you all that surprised?
Exhibit A, pick a lane.
Exhibit A. Kingdom Hearts 12, pick a lane.
How many Kingdom Hearts games are there now? Like mainline Kingdom Hearts games.
So okay, it depends on what you mean by mainline is the thing, because like numbered entries, there's Kingdom Hearts 1, 2, and 3.
Okay,
but those are not you need to play more than that in order to understand the games. It's like you can't just play 1, 2, and 3 and have it make sense, because there's like 7 games in between Kingdom Hearts 2 and 3 that are all like plot important. It's amazing and terrible. Man. Yeah. You gotta play Birth by Sleep. You gotta play Dream Drop Distance. You gotta play 358 Days Over 2. You gotta play.
Who comes up with these titles?
Tetsuya Nomura, who, by the way, was a character designer on Final Fantasy VII, and that's kind of like where he got his start. And then he made his own thing, Mickey Mouse.
Yeah.
And clones and time travel and whatever that series is about. Sora. Yeah. So Final Fantasy VII, and then after that is the next up on my list will be Bloodborne, which is I feel like is a good going into the fall game, because it's very spooky.
Spooky game.
Yeah. Bloodborne. It's from the creators of Dark Souls. It's from Software is what they're called. And yeah, Bloodborne considered to be one of their best games and one of the best games ever made. Probably, I've played a good 30 hours of it, but I just need to go back and I hit a wall, because it's it's a Dark Souls game essentially in everything but name. And
what does that mean?
It's like Dark Souls, but so I mean,
our parents listen to this. Explain it to them.
Dark Souls is a series of critically acclaimed but infamously difficult action RPG games where you go through a world and you fight monsters, and the combat is very kind of slow and methodical, and all the monsters have like they hit really hard, and so you have to be very careful, and like there's a lot of trial and error involved, and but they're very, very well designed, beautiful, excellent games, and they've done a lot to like influence game design and game culture as a whole over the past couple decades. And yeah, so Dark Souls, Demon Souls, which is the one that actually came before Dark Souls, but people talk about Dark Souls because it kind of codified it more, or it was like more popular. Anyway, Elden Ring is the most recent one that they made. Yeah, Elden Ring is like a Dark Souls but open world, so it's like kind of Dark Souls meets Breath of the Wild almost.
Got it.
And yeah, but Bloodborne is one that's like been a favorite among many people and a cult classic, and it is basically Dark Souls, but instead of like the classic kind of dark fantasy medieval of what Dark Souls usually is, this is like Victorian, like Victorian England almost, but with like a plague and weird monsters and stuff. Anyway, it's very cool.
So it's Victorian England.
I don't know when the plague was, so
it wasn't Victorian times, but
okay,
it's England, so I'm gonna make fun of it.
Yeah, no, that works. You can do that.
Yeah,
I'll allow it.
Thanks.
I'll allow England mockery here.
Good. We are Irish.
We're Irish and we're German. Those are kind of our two things.
We're Welsh, actually.
Are we?
You know that?
How much Welsh are we?
A lot. Sarah did a genealogy thing on us and found out that we're like Welsh. So I guess we're more that. Or something. I don't know. Sarah knows all about this and I don't. And she keeps telling me and then I forget.
Okay.
Yeah, but.
Yeah. I just know, but like, I feel like the last time I talked to mom and dad about it, they said like, yeah, we're like mostly like Irish and German is what they said.
Well, because most people in North Texas are Irish and German.
That's reasonable.
Yeah.
So, anyway, yeah, Bloodborne. It's spooky. It's very like Halloween season appropriate game.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I think so that's gonna be like my plan going forward for trying to get through my video game backlog, and I'll probably jump around a little bit. Like I'm probably gonna jump to my current Kingdom Hearts 3 playthrough, because I want to get through that for the sake of like catching up on a thing for my friends also, because I have a friend who's been wanting me to play through Kingdom Hearts 3 so I can play through the DLC, because it's like super narratively important, and also like the way he described it is like it's like what Kingdom Hearts 3 should have been at launch is Kingdom Hearts 3 plus this DLC. And so it's like here's the actual ending of the game. Here's like all the satisfying like anyway. So I need to get to that, and that's been on my list for forever, and I feel bad about that, and so I want to get through that also. Yeah. And I also might like jump around to like seasonally, like if like for example if it's like Spooktober and I want to play something spooky and I'm not playing Bloodborne, then I'll I can jump to a different like horror game or a different spooky game. Like I want to play the Dead Space remake, and I want to play Luigi's Mansion 3, both of which are games that I have and I've started and I haven't finished. So yes, I have many games on my to play list and on my currently playing list, and this is hopefully the beginning of me getting to actually conquer this mountain that I've made for myself.
Not to add another game to your list.
Go ahead.
Isn't that new Zelda game out?
Yeah, it's on my to play list. Yeah.
Okay.
And Ghost of Wisdom came out this past week.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And I would probably be playing that and or Astrobot if I was more financially solvent right now. But I'm saving money at the moment. I really get Yeah. And part of that was the ticket I got recently that I had to pay for. Yeah. I wasn't arrested. I was just handcuffed.
You were detained
in the middle of the night on the ground. It was fun. Anyway, so that's what I've been up to: is video games and 3D printing. Is there anything else you wanted to talk about, Sam?
I finished Rebuild the Galaxy. I watched that. Did you watch it?
I've watched episode 1. I need to watch the rest of it, but I enjoyed episode 1 well enough. Yeah. What did you think of the whole thing?
It was fine.
Yeah.
It was fine. I watched the first 2, right before we recorded our last podcast episode, which was like 3 weeks ago, like right when it came out. And then I didn't touch it until like you hadn't finished the episodes for today's podcast, so I just watched it while I was waiting on you. And it was fine. Like the whole vibe was basically like, let's take like a couple like 30-something-year-olds, give them like and tell them to like hand them all the Star Wars Legos that have ever been made, and say, make a story that's not Star Wars but uses a Star Wars. Go. Yeah. But it also like leans heavily into the fact that this is Legos. And that's Rebuild the Galaxy. So it's fun. I will not rewatch it, but it's fun.
Gotcha. Yeah. I almost wish that this was like, not that this isn't like delightful, but I kind of almost wish they had made this as a video game, because it seems like the kind of thing that would be like, because we've never gotten like a standalone Lego Star Wars video game of like its own story, which we don't need. But like also, I just think this would be a cool thing to play through.
Because they've all just been kind of like silly like versions of the movies, is what all the stuff we had before, which is great and fun. But like, it's not, I don't know, it kind of takes like knowing exactly what the story's going to be and kind of takes some of the excitement out of playing Lego Star Wars. The only kind of like things I'm looking forward to are like a sense of accomplishment of like finishing the thing, and like what jokes are they going to make about the prequels in my playthrough of episode 3. Like that's like all that they're like. So I've played through all the episodes, but just kind of like gotten just kind of the basic, like, did the story, I did it, and then like started kind of like going through like the I like made a very meager attempt at 100% of the game, and that lasted about a day, and I was like, I don't want to do this.
There's a lot to do if you want 100% that game. Like any of the Lego games, but the Skywalker Saga is massive.
It's huge.
It's so big.
I was just like, oh, it's fun, like, because I busted through the story in like 2 sittings, and I was like, oh, I can 100% this, no problem. No, it's like the story is like 10% of the game, if that. Yeah.
If you're looking for another good Lego game to play through, I highly recommend Lego Marvel Superheroes.
Oh,
it's very good. It's Lego, but with Marvel superheroes, obviously, and it takes place in an open world New York City, and so it's almost like Grand Theft Auto for kids with Marvel.
I love Grand Theft Auto for kids.
It's super fun. It's one of the better Lego games, in my opinion,
and all that stuff.
Yeah, or you can run around as well. It doesn't have like murder, but you can steal people's cars, and they'll be like, it's really funny how they do it. Like, if you steal somebody's car, they're like, oh yeah, I'm sure you need this. I'm sure you're more important. Like, they're very like either apologetic or like, oh wow, it's a superhero, so cool. That kind of like, you know, Lego lighthearted humor,
lighthearted, tongue in cheek, like yeah, I love that.
It's great. Yeah, that's delightful. Yeah, I hope to finish watching that at some point.
Yeah. It's worth the watch.
I also just really want
that I watched it, but like because there's a lot of fun little Easter egg. Because I was kind of towards the end watching it for like the fun Easter eggs in it. Yeah. At one point, I thought George Lucas made a cameo in it, but I was like, oh no, that's just Lego Count Dooku. Never mind.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah. I could see how they would look alike in Lego form.
Yeah, they did. I was like, wait, there's no glasses, and that doesn't make sense. It's just Dooku.
Yeah. Anyway, that's cool. I still want at least one of the Lego sets. I'd like to get the X-Wing and TIE Fighters, like interchangeable wings set. That was cool. Anyway, yeah, Legos are cool. They're expensive, but they're cool.
Indeed.
Well, you ready to move on to our main segment today, Sam?
I think I am.
It's an interesting, fun set of episodes. Well, I don't know if fun is the right word.
Fun is not.
The last episode's fun.
The last episode is fun. The first two...
to put it in perspective, the first episode's called Massacre. So,
and the second episode is The Path of Fear. And it's very pretty, but...
It's fearful.
It's very scary.
Scally. Yeah, this is neat because it's the first time in a while that we've like done some jumping around in terms of like going between different media properties. Because we're jumping between Clone Wars and Tales of the Empire for this. And the other thing is, this is like the closest we've had between like the release of something and us talking about it in order on the podcast.
Oh yeah, so it really is.
Yeah, the closest since then, like before this, was like Tales of the Jedi when we started the podcast, because like our first episode of was I think Tales of the Jedi episode 2.
It was the
I don't know,
Dooku and Baby Qui-Gon.
Yeah. I can't remember like what exactly the like how long ago it had come out when we talked about it then. So I don't know if it's like, I think this is probably closer though. Like us watching Tales of the Empire now.
Because Tales of the Empire came out this year, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, because Tales of the Jedi came out.
Yeah, it was May the 4th, right? It was a Star Wars Day thing.
It was,
right,
yeah.
This year. Yeah.
Because Tales of the Empire came out like the May the 4th before we started this podcast, I think. Because it was about 2 years.
Tales of the Jedi, I mean?
That's the one.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, you're probably right. I don't know. I'm not gonna check.
Yeah. Me either.
Where does this episode? Where does this arc take place in the timeline, Sam?
20 BBY. We're getting towards the end of 20 BBY though.
Oh my goodness.
19's coming up.
Things.
All right, so the first episode is called Massacre. It's a nice lighthearted episode.
Fun.
Fun.
For
Massacre.
kids, you know.
Yeah. For kids.
Star Wars. It's for kids.
Yep. The moral of this episode is one must let go of the past to hold on to the future. Punishable offense. Sinister forces on the move. Asajj Ventress has suffered a humiliating betrayal at the hands of her own assassin, Savage Opress. Having gone into hiding, she now has no choice but to seek sanctuary with the Night Sisters of Dathomir. ... After a period of hiding following her betrayal by Savage Opress, amidst her retaliation against Count Dooku, Asajj Ventress returns to the headquarters of the Night Sisters on Dathomir, where Mother Talzin welcomes her back with open arms. Talzin recommends that Ventress should cast off her ambitions to become a Sith and fully reintegrate herself in the ranks of the Night Sisters. Ventress agrees and undergoes the initiation ritual, becoming a fully accepted member of the Order once again. But Dooku has neither forgotten nor taken the attempt on his life lightly, and he commands General Grievous to proceed to Dathomir to eradicate the Night Sisters. The droid forces descend upon the initiation festivity in full force, and the Night Sisters prepare for battle. The Night Sisters begin to mount a counterattack under Ventress's leadership, but as soon as Ventress appears on the battlefield, Grievous sends out a group of defoliator tanks. Hey, defoliators are back.
Yeah, I was when they said defoliator, I was like, I remember what that is.
I remember
we
that.
talked about that on the podcast.
It's like one of our first episodes.
Yeah, when we watched that episode, I was like, man, they don't ever talk about the defoliator again, do they? But they know they do. It comes back here. They use it to kill all the witches on Dathomir.
Yeah. Oops. So a group of defoliator tanks to wipe out their opponents with one stroke. Ventress manages to destroy the defoliators and fights her way right up to Grievous, challenging him to single combat, which Grievous readily agrees to. In the meantime, Mother Talzin calls upon her Order's venerable elder, Old Daka, to show how to allow the reviving of the past Night Sisters with their dark magic, thus creating an army of the dead to repel the Separatists. This was cool. This is like a cool, fun zombie Star Wars. Love me some zombie Star Wars.
Yes, I thought, yeah. This is, I think that the Night Sisters is one of the coolest things that the Clone Wars adds to the lore.
Oh my gosh!
Like,
yes.
I don't know how much of like the Night Sisters, if like this was wholly a Clone Wars like creation, or if this is like partly taken from Legend stuff or what. But
yeah,
it's just so cool. It's like, I love that we get a new branch of the universe and a new kind of, we had a new perspective of the Force and a new set of Force wielders, you know?
Yeah. It opens Star Wars up. Yeah, it opens Star Wars up to so much more possibility. There's not just the kind of like binary view of the Force of being like you're either a Jedi or a Sith, and that's the only way to do the Force. It was like, no, there's witches, and there's just like normal people who like
they're spooky witches with voodoo dolls.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it was spooky.
Yeah, and the zombies, like the whole like the visual of like they're zombies, but they're like in these hanging sacks like that hang from trees. Like that's where they bury their
mummy
people.
cocoons. It's
they're like
wild.
weird cocoons, and they like fall out of them all slimy, and then they get up and scream, and they're like, and then they're fast zombies too. Yeah. They're the scariest kind of zombie.
That is the scariest kind of zombie. Is zombies that can sprint at you while screaming and then eat you.
It's
terrifying.
It's rough.
I love it. Happy Halloween, everybody.
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
Maybe this will be out around Halloween. Who knows? More than likely, it'll be out after Halloween. But whatever. It's okay.
It's all good. Happy almost my birthday. And Jack's 29. Anyway, 29. Where are we? Old Daka casts forth their power, and the remains of the dead rise from the burial pods to join their living sisters. Talzin uses a lock of Dooku's hair she had previously taken and stashed away in secret, using it to create a magical voodoo figurine likeness of Dooku. She conducts her magic through it to torment him into rescinding his attack, or else suffer an agonizing death. In a lightsaber duel, Ventress gets the better of Grievous, but the cyborg deviously orders his droids to recommence the attack. Grievous is then about to kill her, but the army of the dead starts attacking Grievous. Wounded, and with her sisters dying around her, Ventress is forced to flee, and summoned by Dooku, Grievous tracks down the origin of Talzin and Daka's magic. He first kills Daka, disrupting the resurrection magic, and without reinforcements, the remnants of the Night Sisters are helplessly slaughtered. Before she can be executed by Grievous, Talzin turns into smoke and vanishes. The apparition of Talzin later appears before Ventress and encourages her that while her destiny will always be linked to the Night Sisters, Ventress now has a new path to follow. Talzin dissipates, leaving the desolate Ventress to face an uncertain future. End of this episode.
Yeah, this is all spooky all the time. This is all spooky, all sad, all dark.
Yes, for kids.
Yeah, it's called Massacre, and it's an appropriate title because it's one of the first instances we see, like, at least on screen, that we see of like either the Empire or in this case the Separatists like doing a genocide on a whole like group of people.
Yeah,
like, I think has it already happened to this point? Where have they wiped out the Geonosians at this point, or is that later?
I think that's right after Order 66.
Okay.
Because at that point, because that's, I think, around the time Palpatine decommissions the droid army, and because now he's got the clones, and then eventually they become stormtroopers. But yeah, they sterilized Geonosis right after Order 66.
Yeah. Gotcha. Yeah. So this is an early instance of like, they'll just like kill a whole race of people just because they're mad. And we also got to see some cool like magic stuff. So we got to see the zombies. This is our first time seeing the Night Sister zombies. That was cool and terrifying. We got to see their weird voodoo magic where they like, we got to see Dooku get remotely tortured, which was really
wild.
Like, wow. Yeah, that was and he gets like these like little like warts on his head,
like boils or something.
Yeah, it's real creepy, and like I can feel the pain a little bit just by watching.
And Mother Talzin like appears to him as like basically like her but on fire coming out of his chest.
Yes, and, on green fire, because everything's gonna be green with the Night Sisters.
That's what the magic looks like. It's green.
Yes, unless you're the other, like the mountain people. Like in the next episode, we see like white magic.
Oh yeah,
that was cool. Anyway, we'll talk about it later.
But that's not magic. That's just magic.
It's not magic.
Because they're Anyway,
they're not from the bayou. They're
born on the bayou. Born on the bayou. All right.
The next episode that we're going to be talking about is from an entirely different series. This is Tales of the Empire, Episode 1, The Path of Fear. There's no moral because this isn't Clone Wars. Okay.
No
the episode opens.
Either.
What?
No impenetrable fence. That's so sad.
The defenses here are very penetrable, actually.
Yeah, that's kind of the point. Be afraid. Be very afraid.
Yeah. The episode opens with the Night Sisters of Dathomir retreating in the face of an overwhelming assault by the Separatist droid army during the Battle of Dathomir. Morgan Elsbeth is our first look at Morgan Elsbeth in canon chronologically.
Little baby Morgan Elsbeth.
Little babby Morgan Elsbeth takes down several advancing B2 series super battle droids with her bowcaster. Her mother Selena saves her from being killed by a super battle droid. The Night Sisters prepare to make a last stand in a clearing, but are ambushed by General Grievous, who impales the Night Sister from behind with one of his green lightsabers. I'm just gonna stop real quick and just kind of talk about like going from the Clone Wars episode that portrays this event to now Tales of the Empire. Not that like Clone Wars looked bad at this point, it looks good, but like the jump in like visual quality between Clone Wars and Tales of the Empire is so like seeing like the same event animated like, I don't know, 10-15 years apart or something is like, it's like, wow, they've really come far, haven't they? Yeah. It's so gorgeous. Like the particle effects and animations and details are all so much like crisper. There's a lot more kind of depth to the scenes. You can see like they're just much more layered visually, and the lighting is so much cooler. And like if you look at Grievous himself, there's like you can see a lot more detail on his armor. There's a lot more like, you know, like you can see little scratches and things. And just in general in this episode, Grievous is like, he looks a lot scarier in this. Just the way
Grievous is so scary in this episode. Oh my god,
he's like this stalking monster. Just
like monster movie, big bad monster, like scary, like
yes, it's so cool.
and just menacing villain. This is, I think, the best portrayal of General Grievous we've seen in canon in Star Wars.
Honestly, yeah. He looks so good and so cool and so creepy and like menacing. And don't get me wrong, I love like the kind of bumbling goofball that Grievous can be sometimes, and honestly is most of the time.
Yes.
But like when he's, you know, given like free reign to just kind of wreck shit and just be terrifying, he is so cool.
Like this is the Grievous that I pictured when I was like reading the novelization of Revenge of the Sith, because Grievous is scary in that like in the first scene you see Grievous in the Revenge of the Sith novelization, he like his ship is being like it's like all droids, but there's a couple Neimoidians that like are running a ship, and he like decapitates a Neimoidian for like doing something wrong, and then like it's like you're in charge now to like his underling, and but like not just but like with his claws grabs the guy's skull and rips his head and spine out. Like that's
Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, right, Mortal Kombat kind of Grievous. And like that's the Grievous we see in Tales of the Empire. Yeah,
it's so cool. Yeah,
it's so cool.
Yeah.
I could geek out about this version of Grievous. It's so
like it also makes me almost like, you know, not like, I kind of almost wish that we got more of this, of like events that we've already seen but like animated up to this, like almost like a remastered version of Clone Wars. Like
that would be cool.
In another reality, like this would never happen, obviously, because they would require them remaking everything. But like
all 100-something episodes.
Yeah, but just I don't know, just like take one episode or take like one arc and be like, here's the remastered version of this arc or something, just to see it in like the crisp, beautiful, like well framed, like it's also like the pacing is so much better now. Like not that it was bad before, but there's just so much of like a rhythm to it and a flow between events, and it, I don't know, it just feels
like the Clone Wars. Like if putting these two side by side, the Clone Wars feels like a kid's show. This feels like art. Like this is this is a work of art. Yeah. All right. So that question for you, that kind of, if you could pick one Clone Wars arc to have remastered,
I would say like not just remastered, but like remade from the ground up.
Remade from the ground up. Okay, got it.
Because the other thing is like it's not just like the lighting and the models differences. It's also like the animation, it's the framing, it's the timing of the shots, it's everything about it. Like to me is like overall a very much an improvement, and we see a lot of that in like Clone Wars season 7, so we do get some of that in Clone Wars. You know, but man,
to narrow down, how about of the ones that we've covered in the podcast so far?
Okay, yeah, that's a good narrow down. Oh man, well now that we're talking about Grievous being all menacing, I'm like, we got to do Umbara. I want to see Umbara, but like, I want to see, Carnage of Krell, but like, I feel like Krell was kind of the prototype for this like little bit of Grievous that we see. That'd menacing, really tons of lightsabers, jumps out of nowhere, totally powerful, real scary.
Real scary.
What about you?
I should have had an answer when I asked you the question, but I don't have an answer.
I answered too fast.
You did too fast. I mean, Umbara was the first one that I thought of, but I don't want to.
Yeah. Oh no, Sam froze. Sam.
What else? What do you think?
Well, you're back.
Oh man, I'm back. Yeah. So
cool.
I don't know what you heard, but I said Water Wars. The Water Wars episodes could be fun.
Ooh, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Did that seem like better underwater animation?
Oh yeah.
Like, that'd be gorgeous. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was super cool.
I'm gonna stick with that one for now until I think of a different one.
Yeah, I'm scrolling real quick through the episodes that we've seen.
I'm trying to do it just off the top of my head.
Mm-hmm.
Let me do that.
I think anything on Mandalore. I would love to see more like animated Mandalore.
I've got it.
What?
Zillow Beast.
Oh my god, that'd be great. Oh my god.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to see I want to see my Star Wars Godzilla. Like,
yes.
Please.
Zillow Beast -1. Sam just gave a ooh face.
Yes. Okay. Cool. I like that. That's my answer. Zillow Beast.
Yeah. So many good things we can talk. Okay. Yeah, we should probably move on.
Yeah. We're like an hour and a half in already.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. The Night Sisters aim their bowcaster at the cyborg, Grievous, but come under fire from several BX series droid commandos. Selena tells her daughter to stay back while she fights Grievous with 2 sickles that have been animated with magic, with a K. Despite her force powers, Selena is unable to beat Grievous, who gains the upper hand and damages her sickles with his lightsabers. During her last stand, she engages in a blade lock with Grievous, only to be stabbed in the torso by a 3rd blade from Grievous's left arm. In her final moments, Selena tells Elsbeth to run. A laughing Grievous then cuts down Selena with his 3 blades. He sees Morgan Elsbeth watching and bellows at her to run before laughing.
It's so scary.
He then orders his droid army to wipe out the Night Sisters. Elsbeth flees into the forest, pursued by 3 droid commandos. She eludes her pursuers by hiding on top of a tree. One of the droid commandos scans the trees and shoots at Elsbeth, causing her to fall off. She evades the droid's blaster bolts and kicks the blaster out of its grip. The droid attacks her with its vibra sword, which she dodges. The droid commando grabs her by the neck, but Elsbeth retrieves her dagger and stabs the droid through its head, taking it offline. Elsbeth collapses to the ground and falls unconscious, while Grievous's army completes their massacre. The following day, an unconscious Elsbeth is rescued by members of the Mountain Clan. She awakes in their cave dwelling and is greeted by the Mountain Clan matron and an adolescent girl named Nolly, who tells her she is under the protection of their clan. Elsbeth discovers that her black face paint markings are disappearing due to the waning magic of the Night Sisters. As the matron leads her outside the cave, where she sees the Mountain Clan members and their... Oh, sorry. As the matron leaves her out... Wow, I'm just getting every word wrong. All right. As the matron leads her outside the cave, where she sees the Mountain Clan members and their... See, this sentence doesn't make sense. I was like, this is screwing me up. Okay, the matron leads her outside the cave, where she sees the Mountain Clan members and their cave dwellings. Period.
Yes, thank you.
Gazing at the horizon, Elsbeth sees smoke rising from the burning ruins of the Night Sister village. The matron says she is welcome to stay for as long as she wants. When the matron touches her shoulder, Elsbeth brushes it away. Overcome by grief, she drops to her knees and peers over the cliff with a tear flowing down her left cheek. Later, Elsbeth watches a burning log, but is haunted by memories of Grievous's massacre. While the other mountain witches fear that Grievous will attack them as well, the matron tells them not to give in to fear. Actually, I like the line that she gives here. She's like, "Don't give your fear fertile ground to grow in," or something like that.
Yeah.
I like that kind of imagery. It's like it's not don't be afraid. It's don't indulge your fear.
Yeah.
Basically. Yeah. Which I like. She invites Elsbeth to join a mountain witch named Nolly for their hunt. While navigating over the rocky terrain, they crouch when several separatist HMP droid gunships fly by. Though Nolly believes they are safe in the mountains, Elsbeth is skeptical and says that the mountain tribe's way of life will not be enough to protect her people. Elsbeth offers to help. Nolly is reluctant, but Elsbeth asks if she's prepared to let her mother die while knowing she could have done more to prevent it. Later that night, Nolly speaks with her mother, the matron, about how they would defend themselves against the separatist droids. The matron dismisses her concerns, saying they must trust their path. After leaving the meeting, Nolly finds Elsbeth walking with 2 other witches. They tell her that Elsbeth has found some weapons and convince her to come along. Elsbeth leads them into a munitions depot, where they retrieve several weapons including tomahawks and scimitars, unaware that they are being watched by a probe droid. The matron discovers that Nolly and several adolescents are missing. After hearing movement above, Elsbeth and the mountain witches rush to the surface only to encounter a droid gunship and several B-1 series battle droids. The gunship deploys several super battle droids. Elsbeth and the younger witches fight back but find themselves outnumbered and outgunned. The mountain matron arrives and summons a powerful sphere of light energy, which disables the battle droids. The droid gunship loses control, crashes, and explodes. Elsbeth helps the elderly matron to her feet. The matron tells Elsbeth not to assume that not wanting to fight means one is not capable of fighting. The matron attends to her wounded daughter Nolly, who apologizes and says that their way is true. The other mountain witch carries her wounded comrade. The matron says that Elsbeth has chosen her path and pities her for what is to come. They walk away, leaving Elsbeth behind alone. End of the episode.
Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah, this was like a neat episode for a number of reasons. Like, one, we talked about already, of like seeing the events of a previous episode played out, but with like better, more modern animation and like, you know, a more experienced animation team, you know?
Yeah.
So that's cool. But then also we get to see obviously the origin of a character who ends up being pretty important later on, Morgan Elsbeth. So that's super important.
Yeah.
And then, sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, a lot of the stuff that we see in this arc kind of comes into play during Morgan Elsbeth's kind of like last hurrah in Ahsoka.
Yes.
Because we see like,
which we'll watch in 8 years or whatever on this podcast.
4 million years later. Yeah, whenever we get there, we'll see it. But yeah, because we get a lot of Night Sister stuff. We get Morgan Elsbeth kind of becoming like one of the matrons of the Night Sisters, and she gets like kind of like the black like witchy tattoos that show up now the more that the Night Sister magic kind of takes over. We get the zombie stormtroopers. It's so much.
Yeah.
Like, it's a lot of that is kind of like a direct stuff that we all see and introduced in this arc, which is cool. And mostly in the last 2 episodes.
Yeah. Yeah, that's super cool. Like, there's a lot that's like they take directly from the Night Sister, because there's so much of Night Sister lore and kind of the cool stuff about Night Sisters, and not just Morgan Elsbeth, but like the like you said, the zombie stuff, like all of that is taken directly from. This is where that comes from. This episode, you know, or these episodes rather. Yeah, it's really cool. I guess a few stray thoughts about this episode. One is, I feel like the matron of the mountain. Well, first of all, this introduces us to the Mountain Clan, right? I don't think we've ever like.
Yeah.
Do we know anything about them outside of this episode of Tales of the Empire?
I don't think so.
Hold on.
Because they were introduced in this episode of the thing.
Yeah,
like,
unless literally, yeah.
Unless
their only canon appearance
in,
is this. Yeah.
Unless it's like in books and stuff. All we get is this.
Yeah. No. Their only canon appearance is this episode of Tales of the Empire. So that's interesting. Yeah, I'd definitely be interested to like know more about this group of witches. Like, it's a different clan of witches that they're not the Night Sisters, but they're on the same planet. They're on Dathomir also.
Yeah, but it doesn't look like Dathomir.
It's a different part of, I don't know.
Yeah, they're not in the red spooky part. They're in the
they're not in the spooky
part.
swamps. They're up in the mountains. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and they're also like powerful pacifists, kind of. Yeah. We could speculate.
Yeah. I had some weird on the one hand, I get that part of the point of this story is that Morgan Elsbeth kind of goes looking for a fight almost, and that's kind of her way of doing things, is attacking first before somebody else can attack them, and that's her way of defending, whereas this clan's way of defending generally is by being laying low, basically. Like at one point the matron's like, they're not going to hurt us if we don't provoke them, which I think is kind of a naive way of dealing with things, especially when you're dealing with like the Separatists, and especially later the Empire. They're
just
they're out for blood. The idea of just like I'll just step back and not do anything and they're not going to hurt me is like naive, I think.
That has never worked in Star Wars.
Not once.
That might maybe work in the real world, but in Star Wars, no, that never works.
And then the line where she's talking to Morgan Elsbeth after she did her like light magic nuke thing,
that was cool.
She's like, which was really cool. That was a super cool visual, and I loved that we got like a kind of light magic white force energy. Like we haven't really seen anything like that outside of this. Like the closest thing I can think of visually is like the World Between Worlds. It has a lot of like white light.
Wonder if there's a Dave.
If there's a connection there.
Is there a connection?
Dave, come on the podcast. Tell us all your secrets. But after she did that, she goes up to Morgan. She's like, just because we're not defending ourselves doesn't mean we don't have the capability to do so. Or basically,
right.
Like something along those lines. And I'm like, okay, but to be fair, you could have like demonstrated to her like, no, we can defend ourselves. Because she went out like looking for weapons and stuff, because she was like, these people are defenseless, and you didn't. I kind of get Morgan's perspective in this case. Super cool, like visually gorgeous episode. Just like really, this episode just really underscores more of the tragedy of the Battle of Dathomir and that massacre. Like, because the one perspective we see that battle through, or that we have seen that battle through so far, really is through Asajj Ventress, and we haven't seen it through the perspective of anybody else who we don't know if Morgan is the only other survivor of that battle, or if there are others.
Survives, right?
That's true. She like ghosts away. She becomes wispy and retreats.
She does.
Well, that was episode 2. That was part 2 of this 3-parter. Sam, you want to talk to us about the last episode of this arc?
Let's do it. The third and final episode of this arc is Star Wars Clone Wars Season 4, Episode 20, Bounty. The moral of this episode is, who we are never changes. Who we think we are does.
Oh my god. I'm looking at the in the cameo side. Apparently Simon Pegg is in this. Is he Dengar?
Maybe.
Hold on. Yeah. No, we gotta look at this. Hold on.
Yeah.
In 2 episodes of Star Wars: The Clone Wars, Dengar was voiced by British actor Simon Pegg, who went on to reprise the role in the video game Star Wars Battlefront. Fun fact. The new Battlefront.
Yeah. New Battlefront. Oh, but the lame one. The not real one.
The fake one.
Yep.
But yeah, fun facts.
Fun fact.
That's not the only time because he's in The Force Awakens, right? He's the 1/4 portion guy, isn't he?
1/4 portion. Yep, that's Simon Pegg.
Man, Simon Pegg's all over the Star War.
He does quite a Star War.
He's Unkar Plutt. And he's Dengar.
Yep.
Oh, all right, yeah, sorry. I got excited about Simon Pegg.
Okay. An impenetrable defense.
An impenetrable defense, y'all.
Abandoned. After an assassination attempt by his forsaken apprentice, Asajj Ventress, Count Dooku launches a brutal counterattack against the Night Sisters, massacring the entire clan. Forced into exile, Ventress wanders far into the Outer Rim, among the castaways and vagabonds of the galaxy, seeking her new life that was foretold by Mother Talzin. With her past life lying in shambles at her feet, Asajj Ventress' aimless drifting finally comes to a temporary halt in a seedy spaceport tavern on Tatooine. Where was that for? Where she begins to drown her sorrows in alcohol. For kids. One of the patrons makes a pass at her, and when he does not take kindly to her rebuffs, Ventress is forced to emphasize her point with the lightsaber. Upon this, she's invited by 2 bounty hunters, Bosk and Lats Razzie, for a drink and a business proposition. The fellow Ventress has just killed, Oked, was their hired partner for an assignment on Quartzite. Now that he is dead, the bounty hunters need a replacement, so they threaten to deliver Ventress to the authorities unless she takes Oked's place in the mission. Needing money to get by anyway, Ventress agrees to participate. Ventress then meets the rest of their partners, Dengar, C-21 High Slinger, and the team's leader, Boba Fett.
Little Boba.
Little baby Boba. Bouncing baby Boba.
Bouncing baby Boba.
With whom Ventress clashes with, and immediately about his youth and the resultant lack of skills she perceived came with it. Nevertheless, the 6 of them proceed to an orbital elevator station above Quartzite to meet their employer, Major Ragoso, and receive details about their assignment. The 6 of them were commissioned to protect the contents of a large chest, which is to be delivered to Quartzite's despotic ruler, Uta Blank, which is the most Star Wars name.
Uta Blank.
Uta Blank. Via the orbital station and a sub-tram, because the planet's atmospheric pressure renders a more conventional delivery by spaceship impossible. The chest is sought after by a band of raiders, which is why the bounty hunters were hired as additional protection. With these details in the chest under their supervision, Ragoso and Boba's team embark on their journey. Soon after,
there are a few things I want to talk about before we move on. Number 1, we get an Embo cameo at the beginning of this episode when they're walking out. Yeah. He doesn't speak or anything, but he's as Asajj is walking into the tavern, walking away from the tavern is Embo.
Yeah.
So we get to see Mr. Shield Hat himself.
I love
Best bounty hunter.
Yeah. This is also definitely the Mos Eisley Cantina, because we have the Cantina band playing in this episode. So love that.
We get that. We get so many different bounty hunter like appearances and cameos. We get Bosk, we get Dengar, both of whom were in the original trilogy movies and live action.
Indeed.
I think this is Dengar's first appearance.
I think so
probably.
Too.
Not that Dengar's like important, but like he's there.
Like, hey, Simon Pegg. Yeah.
What's up? And I just like the mask, like the helmet that Boba wears, that young Boba wears. I think it looks cool.
Yeah.
I like young Boba's look.
Me too.
There's just a lot. Yeah, we'll get more into it later, but there's so many cool ideas in this episode. It's a fun like heist.
Yeah. I also love like the big old like space elevator down to the center of the planet. It was just very reminiscent of like the J.J. Abrams Star Trek.
That's what I was thinking too. Yeah, the drill that they use. Yeah, the giant drill.
That thing.
They skydive down on or whatever.
Yeah. Cool scene. Love that scene. A lot of fun.
Awesome. The whole premise of this is super cool. Like they're escorting something on a train, and the train is underground, going through this like long series of caverns full of like glowing crystals.
Yeah.
So it's like a cool setting, and we get these like cool looking like assassin characters in masks. They look really interesting and neat and unique, and we get this motley crew of bounty hunters all working together on stuff. I love the the young girl bounty hunter. She has the weird whip thing that she throws out. It's like a bunch of blades tied together almost that like she can kind of use as a grappling hook. Like that's crazy and cool. I love that thing. I just love that idea. I also just love the robot, the droid C-21 High Singer. He's just a super cool design. He's like he's super tall, and he's got like red eyes and this like weird shaped head with like a crown, like a round crown on his head, and it's like
it looks like
he's just super cool, like
Aztec almost, like
kind of yeah,
like El Dorado kind of, like Road El Dorado kind of design. It's cool. I like it.
And he does that thing where he like just spins around his waist and shoots and just like takes out a whole group of people by just. What
is it with droid bounty hunters and doing that? That's like their go-to move.
I mean, because nobody else can do that. Only the droids can do that.
That's true.
It's their thing.
Yeah, show off.
Know what your strengths are.
Yep.
And show off. Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Good.
soon after their departure, the raiders board the train in mid-run and attack the escort. In the following struggle, Ragosto and the Korzite guards are slain, and most of the bounty hunters are thrown off the train one by one, leaving only Boba and Ventress to contend with the raiders and their leader. While struggling with the leader, Boba inadvertently tips the chest over, revealing its contents to be a young woman by the name of Pluma Sodi. As it turns out, she is to be forcibly wed to Otua Blank, and the raiders' leader is her brother, Crismo, who has come to save her from this dire fate. Before the siblings get away, Ventress arrives on the scene and uses her abilities, meaning she's Jedi, whatever, to subdue Crismo. She cheats. She uses the Force. But as the tram continues on its journey, Pluma pleads her plight to Ventress, her entreaty about the unfairness of being ripped from her home, seemingly striking a chord with Ventress. She and Boba begin to argue about their part in the mission, their share of the bounty. Tempers quickly flare, and Ventress ends up force choking Boba. The tram arrives at its final destination, where Otua Blank is eagerly awaiting his prize. Ventress delivers the chest and collects the bounty before departing, but as Otua Blank opens the chest, his eyes are met with the sight not of his bride-to-be, but a bound, gagged, and very angry Boba Fett. While the tram makes its journey back to the elevator station, Ventress releases Pluma into Crismo's care after charging an additional fee for her safe return, before she regroups with the other bounty hunters at their ship. She delivers the bounty in full after subtraction of her own agreed share, then parts company with the bounty hunters, but with a more mellow disposition in her life and a stronger confidence in what the future may yet hold for her. End of the arc.
It was a good episode. It was really cool.
It was a good episode.
A lot of things that happened in this. It was a good like standalone episode, and also a good follow up to to everything we've seen so far. Like because we get to see like, okay, we get kind of like a preview of like what does life look like now for Asajj Ventress now that she's no longer a Sith apprentice or an assassin, and she's not a Night Sister because the Night Sisters are all dead. So like, what does she do now? And this adventure, it gives us a chance to not just like see, get to see her use all of her abilities and be a badass again, but also gives her a chance to kind of grapple with, who is she now and what does she want to do with her life? What's important to her? And I think, with the way that she deals with the situation at the end of this episode is very like, it's very indicative of the kind of character she ends up being for the rest of the Clone Wars, and she's very like, she's not a good guy or a bad guy. She fights for herself, but also she does have like a code of sorts. There are things that are important to her, things that she values, and she has a level of honor to her that she that she sticks to.
She's clearly got like a soft spot for like people in need. But she doesn't let that kind of like crack her demeanor, but she will still like do the right thing as long as it still like benefits her as well, kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
it's really cool. It's a cool, fun episode with like I'd like just kind of that character side of things is really cool, and it's just neat.
I know, cool. and I've said it before and I'll say it again. Like, if we get any more, like, we're going to get more Star Wars animation something in the future. We know that's happening. My number one hope is that it's an Asajj Ventress show.
That'd be so cool. I love that so much. Honestly, my first thought after finishing this episode was, man, I really need to go back and finish Dark Disciple.
It's so good. It's the best Star Wars book I've read.
It's like, after watching this episode, I'm like, oh, this gives me the feeling that I get when I'm listening to the audiobook of Dark Disciple. I need to go finish that. It was so good, wasn't it?
It was so very good.
I love I think the other thing is that like I love when we get in Star Wars characters that don't fit the mold that we're used to. It's very easy to like put most of the characters in Star Wars into a specific category or box. Like, this person is a Jedi, so they're a good guy. This person is a Sith, so they're a bad guy. I like it when we get, for example, the Night Sisters, which are like a different faction of Force users, is a different way of like seeing and viewing and using the Force, and a different like culture and a different like visual style. Just that's all super cool. And I love when we get characters like Asajj Ventress, who is very much her own person and a very unique character. She's like, I like when we get characters that are like, they are force wielders that use lightsabers, but they're not Jedi or Sith. They're like their own thing, and we get to see kind of, you know, how that, you know, how having that sort of power interacts with being an independent agent and kind of being their own person and figuring out, you know, where they fit in the galaxy. I feel like we get a lot of that with Ahsoka later.
Yeah, we do.
But yeah, just like, yeah, I love that. I love seeing like any use of the Force or of lightsabers that is not by a Jedi or a Sith, because that means it's like we just get a more interesting story that way a lot of the time.
Yes.
Not that I don't love Jedi and Sith, but like this, it's just it's always cool and exciting to me to get something like this. So much
Agreed.
appreciated. Yeah, that's cool. Good episodes. Sam, what is your favorite part of this arc? Your favorite moment, favorite scene, favorite bit, favorite line, favorite snack?
Favorite what?
Snack.
I am getting really hungry.
I don't know.
Not gonna lie. I've been thinking about making mac and cheese this entire episode.
Ooh.
Yeah.
It's a mac and cheese episode.
The mac
That's
and
what
cheese
we're gonna call this, maybe.
Mac and cheese.
This is gonna be. I'm gonna name that episode that, and people are like, "Why is it called that?" And then they'll get through almost the whole episode until they get to here, and they're like, "Oh, they named that because of."
This whole time.
It's just a joke. It's just they. Yeah. Wow. That was nothing. That's funny to me. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. Continue.
Great. No, I think my favorite part of this episode was General Grievous in the Tales of the Empire, but specifically like him like screaming and laughing "run" as Morgan Elsbeth runs away.
Oh my God, so scary and cool.
Yeah, that was like I was like, oh, so scary. Yeah, man. I watched it last night at my house by myself because Sarah and Marion were somewhere else, and yeah, it was like the house was completely dark and it was just General Grievous screaming and laughing. Like, oh God, I'm gonna die. Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah,
it was great.
What do you watch Clone Wars on usually? Do you watch it on TV or on the projector or what?
TV.
Okay, got it.
Or TV or my laptop, whichever one is more convenient.
Gotcha. That's cool.
Usually
yeah,
TV
I would say my favorite parts of this arc, like Grievous in general, just like
yes.
Wouldn't even get to see a ton of him in that episode, but like he was the highlight for me of that episode.
Oh yeah,
so cool. He looked so good. He looked just visually, he looked so good, and like seeing like him kind of backlit by the fires like of Dathomir and like everything burning, and you know, it's just so cool. But I would say my favorite I would say like the fight sequence on the train is probably my other favorite.
That was really cool.
Yeah,
I love that. I love me a train scene.
Yes, I love a good train scene. Any good action sequence on a train, excellent, love it. And I also just also love anytime we see like a bunch of different people with different like who are like visually very different and have a lot of different abilities, all like fighting at the same time. So we get Asajj, who has her lightsabers and the Force, and is also good at hand-to-hand combat without sabers, and we see all of that. And we also see like these ninja assassin guys with the blades that like they throw, and we see the girl with the weird like blade whip thing, which is super cool. And we see the super tall assassin droid and
Boba Fett.
So much cool stuff. And Boba Fett, a little baby Boba, bouncing baby Boba.
Is this our first? This is not our first. No, it is our first Boba Fett episode where, other than like the one where he's infiltrating, like the clone.
Yeah, where he tries to kill Mace. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is our first like Boba Fett in a leadership position kind of episode.
I think so. Yeah, this is the first time because like, I guess that is interesting because like I guess I'm used to thinking of that of him as being like kind of a leader of a bunch of mercenaries because he's been that in my brain for a while, but like I guess this is the first time that we've like seen anybody refer to him as boss. Like does he show do we see him in prison at one point? I feel like we see young Boba like in the prison with like we see him in Cad Bane and like during that. I don't know if maybe he's like a kind of in that sort of position then. He and Bosk are hanging out, I think, in the prison together. I think that's what it is. I don't remember exactly.
And now they're hanging out here on Tatooine, most likely. So
yeah, they're chilling.
They are
chilling like villains.
Which is probably because of that one prison break that we saw in that one episode. Because it wasn't when Obi-Wan was all like shapeshifted or whatever.
That was that was that same episode. I think,
because he didn't he like inadvertently help cause a prison break?
Well, they like caused a riot. They started a riot, and then
a prison break. Erupted from there, and that's how all this happened. Is because they got out. Then that's why Boba Fett's out of prison. That's why Bosk is out of prison.
So this is all Obi-Wan's fault, is what we're saying.
Yeah.
Come on, Obi-Wan.
A lot of this is Obi-Wan's fault.
Is there an opposite of an MVP? Because that's Obi-Wan this episode.
Clearly, he's not even in this episode.
Least valuable player.
Yeah, catching strays from us on an episode he's not even in. Oops. Sorry, maybe suck less, Obi-Wan. I don't know.
Sam, before I forget, I want the album art of this episode to just be like a close-up of a JPEG of some mac and cheese, please.
But a really grainy one?
Or whatever. Just mac and cheese. I don't care.
Yeah.
You go for it.
I will. I am way behind on making album art. Yeah.
It's all right.
I think you're almost caught up. I think I've got through episode 50, and then I stopped. I'll make more.
Episode 50 is great, though. I don't remember what I did. That one. It's a blowing up car and the number 50 in Aradesh.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, okay. Favorite part, MVP. Who's the MVP of it? I mean, it's got to be Asajj, right? Mm-hmm. This is her arc, basically.
Yeah.
Like, you know, the second episode aside, you know, it's like, yeah. It's a Ventress-centric arc.
Yeah,
Try saying that. Exactly. And we get to see her like be a badass and also go through a lot, like some important, interesting character development. And yeah, it's all her, I think.
Yep.
Main character kills. I was not paying attention, but you counted some at least.
Grievous killed 5. I got that.
Okay, killed 5 Night Sisters. Yeah.
Yep.
Were any of them zombies? Because do those count?
I did not.
I don't think we saw.
I didn't count the zombies. Yeah. I counted Night Sisters.
Yeah. Did we see zombies even like in that episode? Did we see any? I don't think we did. I think we just saw Night Sisters.
Yeah, because I feel like the in the Tales of the Empire episode, it happened. I think it was in what I assumed. This isn't like written down or anything, but what I assumed is that episode entirely takes place after like the old lady was killed and all the zombies powered off.
Which, by the way, when that happened, I realized something. All of the major like armies in Star Wars have an off switch. So the droids, if you blow up the droid ship, they all fall down and are done with. If you kill the old lady, all the zombies fall down. And if you execute Order 66, all the clones aren't on your side anymore.
Oh no. What about stormtroopers? How do you turn off stormtroopers?
You just move a little bit and they can't shoot you.
No, it's the reactor core of the Death Star.
Oh.
Then they're all gone.
That just blows up people, though. That's not like... It's not. It's the
same. Turning it back on, Jack.
That's a good point. Okay, so Grievous got 5. Asajj, I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah, I don't know.
We'll give 5 to Grievous.
Yep.
More Star Wars is better Star Wars.
Grievous did lose a limb, but do we count Grievous limbs?
No, we don't. Oh. We've established we don't count Grievous limbs because he just
I made a mental note and I was like, does it count? I want it to count, but it doesn't count.
That would have to be a separate count. We would have to have a separate, like, how many times does Grievous lose an arm or a hand?
We have to go back and watch everything, and I'm not going to do it.
That's too much content.
That'll be our second run through of the unlimited content. We'll do it. We'll count that.
Yeah, I have unlimited content, but not unlimited patience. My patience is limited.
Yes.
Or time. More Star Wars is better Star Wars. How does this arc, make the movies and the rest of Star Wars better? Sam?
Night Sisters and Scary Grievous.
Yeah, Scary Grievous, Night Sisters lore, Morgan Elsbeth, Baby Boba, Bouncing Baby Boba, more Asajj Ventress lore and character development.
Yes.
Train scene. Always love a good train scene.
Love me some trains.
The only time we've seen a live action train sequence in Solo. Is that the only one?
We had train adjacent kind of things like in Mando.
Right. There was that weird caravan thing.
Yeah.
Or like, yeah. Anyway. But yeah, train good. Alternate title for this episode.
Train equals good.
But no, this is the mac and cheese episode.
This is the mac and cheese episode.
If I'm not mistaken, Sam, we have a listener mailbag.
Did Jason call? Jason
did he?
Oh, it was Jason.
This is you. You're in charge of the voicemail.
I know.
I don't know what's going on.
Trying to strike up a conversation about it, or like have a little transition. I don't know. Just play.
I'm bad at podcasting, Sam. I don't know if you've realized this. We've established it's been over 50 episodes.
We're 53 episodes in. We're good enough at this point. All right.
Yeah, we're good enough. I don't plan on improving anymore.
Yeah. This is the bar. We've met it.
Right.
We will not exceed.
What up, Sam and Jack? So I literally just texted Mr. Sam, but I just started listening to the audiobook of Ready Player One, and it was really stinking cool because at one point the main character flew in an X-Wing, and I'm like, yeah, that's right. One of the coolest ships that you got is an X-Wing. Made me happy because Star Wars is the shit. Also, fuck Punk Crow. And I really don't like him.
What a voicemail.
Jason heard an X-Wing in an audiobook and also wanted to take a jump on Punk Crow's grave. Love it. Thank you, Jason.
Yeah. In summary, Star Wars is the shit, and Punk Krell can go die in a hole, which he does.
He does. That did happen. We watched it. Yeah. We talked about it. We celebrated.
Yeah. Thank you for our weekly or semi-weekly reminder, Jason, of how much Pong Krell sucks. If you would like to join in the discussion, listener, you may leave a voicemail at 512-850-0656. Leave a voicemail at 512-850-6653, and we might feature your comments, questions, corrections, or complaints about how bad Pong Krell is on the podcast. Thank you again, Jason. Join us next time, folks. We'll be talking about, oh my god, Sam, he's finally here. It's Maul.
He's back.
He's back. He's back. Oh, I'm so excited. Oh, next week we're talking about the Clone Wars Season 4, Episodes 21 and 22. This is the Season 4 two-part finale.
Yep.
Brothers and Revenge. We get the return of Savage Press and Maul himself.
Maul's
oh my god.
Back.
Oh, yes.
I love it.
The best. Oh, so good. I'm so excited. And then we go into Season 5, and Season 5 is one of the best seasons of Clone Wars, and it's a good time to be an unlimited content listener and or host.
We are getting close to being done with the Clone Wars.
Don't say that. Don't.
Yeah.
The content's unlimited, Sam. What are you talking about? It'll never end.
You know how long Rebels is? We're gonna be fine. There are no arcs in Rebels.
There's no arcs in Rebels, and it's 4 seasons.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be a bit.
That's like 80 episodes of the podcast right there. We're gonna be fine.
And before that, we still have Revenge of the Sith and the Bad Batch, all 3 seasons of that, and Obi-Wan Kenobi and Andor. So
and Rogue One.
We've got a ways to go.
Don't forget Rogue One.
And Solo. And Rogue One, yeah. But you know, Rogue One is after Rebels.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's so weird.
Why is it weird?
I don't know. It just feels weird. I just forget that like all of Rebels takes place before Episode 4. Mm-hmm. It just like doesn't compute in my brain. It's like this is all happening at the same time.
Yep.
Or after.
Such things.
Yep. Okay, I'm gonna go eat some mac and cheese.
Okay. How appropriate for this on the mac and cheese episode.
I will. I'm gonna do it.
We go eat some mac and cheese. Good. All right. Thank you for joining me, Sam. Thank you for joining us, listeners. May the force be with you. Put some spice on your mac and cheese this week.
I actually will. Dude, you know what? The best way this is how I make my mac and cheese. So I just take normal Kraft mac and cheese, right? I mix it the way you're supposed to. And then I take like a handful of shredded sharp cheddar cheese throw it in, mix it until it all gets melted. Take some Parmesan cheese, shake it all in there, and then I get Tony Chachery's Cajun Creole seasoning. Put a bunch of that in there, mix it all up, a little Tabasco. It's amazing. So good.
I have to try that. I'm not a spicy guy, so I don't know if I'll go for the Tabasco. Is the Creole seasoning also spicy?
No, it's not. It's kind of like it's like peppery Cajun. Like, it's good.
All right,
but not spicy.
I'll try that.
It's mostly just salt, but like Cajun salt.
That sounds delicious.
It's very, very
I will
good.
have to try that. Honestly, you had me at the let's add more cheese to this mac and cheese, because that's never bad.
It's the
never
stuff.
a bad idea.
Okay, I'm starving.
Go have some. You have some mac and cheese with spice on it. May the force be with you, everybody. Bye bye.
All right, cut the chatter. Roger, Roger.